How do I convince my in-laws that going back to school is worthwhile? And the short answer, you don't. But I'm going to give you a longer answer, and hopefully this will reconcile some of your anxiety. So if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Maslick. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation and Strategy, and I created this whole Reciprocity Project to give back as much as I possibly can. So what is this thing, right? So when you experience, what's the general class of problems? This is a very simple class of problems that we see all the time in innovation. This is where you invest your time and effort in something and there's very little payback in the short term, but there might be some benefit in the long term. This is a classic problem that we see where you are making an investment in yourself or an investment in any other asset. And this classic problem almost always results in this kind of behavior. It's negative for a long time and it doesn't feel good for a long time. And then there's positive benefits that kind of come out that you don't really know what those positive benefits are in the long run. And convincing other people that this investment in what you're doing is a good idea is a bit of a fool's game. There's no amount that you can do to convince somebody that what you're doing is a positive investment in yourself or anything else. What you can do is to walk the walk repeatedly. I don't think you do well with going and having a conversation and saying, this is what I'm gonna do. But what you do is you just keep doing the walk and you see how you become that particular thing, and you see how other people start to think that, hey, this is your thing, this is what you're about, this is how you address this particular issue in your life, and you just do it. You just walk forward and you kind of put your blinders on, but you're also sympathetic to how they're actually feeling. And I completely understand every single researcher, professor understands this problem because almost nobody understands your research. Almost nobody sort of gets what you're doing. It seems like such a fool's game. And what you do is you just keep walking the walk until something happens, something clicks, until other people start seeing that this is your thing. We've all gone through this and we all make this investment. And do you get positive benefits from actually making this investment in your education? Chances are you might not, but chances are you could, right? You can't see what those positive benefits actually are. What I can do is encourage you to rationally think through what are your educational choices in terms of what you're going to pick, in terms of the outcomes, but I can't guarantee anything along the way. And you're going to feel many moments like this where people are going to be discounting you, they're not going to believe in you, they're not going to get what you are talking about, but you just get up and you just keep doing your thing. You keep living your life in the way that you think is a positive thing. Now, if your family members that are immediate to you, such as your spouse or partner, or whoever it is that you're with, you're having a hard time convincing them, the only thing you could do is the same thing. Have some more conversations with them, but just keep walking the walk that you are passionate about. And every once in a while, bring them along on the journey. Figure out ways that you can actually incorporate them, have them part of your life. Figure out how to make this vision a bigger thing. It requires you to just keep walking forward as a family, as an individual, until things start happening. And ultimately, I'm going to come back to, how do you convince your in-laws? Ultimately, many times you're not going to be able to convince them. Many times, many people are not going to see what you're doing. But the only thing that you could do is just keep showing up and keep telling your message. Keep doing the things that add value in your life repeatedly. And I think that's the strongest thing that I can tell you, or the most important thing that I can tell you, is that you can try to convince, you can try to do all those kind of things, but unless other people can't see it, or unless they can see it, they're never going to get there. They're never going to get to that moment. They have to see what you see. And so you have to take these really big steps backwards where you are convinced yourself that this is important. This is a well-known problem that all researchers go through, by the way. You convince that yourself it is a good problem, and then you figure out repeatedly what is the messaging that I have to send to other people so that they click and they understand it, and they figure out what I am doing inside so that everybody else sees it. There's no easy answer with this. The only thing that you can do is to live your life, and as long as it's a positive step in your life and what that looks like, that's the only answer. And so it's a bit of a selfish view, but ultimately many decisions like this, you have to take this bit of a selfish view where if you know it's a positive thing, you keep taking those steps, you keep going forward. And I know we're in a day and age where education is largely stigmatized, particularly higher education is largely stigmatized. But how do you handle this? You keep taking the steps forward and telling your truth. And that's it. That's what people have done for millennials. They keep taking those steps forward and telling their truth and actually keep investing in themselves. That's the story. And unfortunately, it's not an easy story, but the only thing that you can do to make that a little better is try to make it a positive journey for them. Encourage them, tell them that it's scary. Tell them that, that you're just as nervous as they are, but you're going to do this anyways, because this is a really positive thing in my life. And I want you to remember that message always. It was a class of problems I experience on a daily basis. It's something, this idea is, I personally resonate with it a fair bit. It was challenging, but what you do is you keep taking those steps forward until it becomes who you are. And does that happen overnight? No. Does that happen in a decade? Probably not. But does it happen in a couple of decades? Probably. People will start to see what you're about. And I encourage you to do that. So that also requires you, and I know that you probably don't have this conviction at this moment, but it requires you to step up and just believe in yourself. And just take that little step today, but repeat and keep doing that little step tomorrow. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.